For some reason, whenever I plan to vlog over the weekend, life stuff gets busy, so I don't know, maybe I need to do more weekend reading vlogs so that some personal admin stuff I'm working on goes faster. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a positive thing. But I think I'll still have lots of time to read, so hopefully this will be a good one. Hi everyone, Rosie here. Welcome back to my channel. It's another weekend. Nothing particularly exciting happening, honestly. You know, some life stuff, some reading stuff, but we're gonna focus on the book stuff. I just got back from my after work walk. It's so warm out and it's so lovely and I'm so excited about spring. But I'm less excited about the book I'm reading. I'm currently reading A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah Maas on audiobook because I'm doing a group read with Amrita and Nat and Lana. All of their channels will be linked down below, of course. And we've actually got a discussion in a week's time, my time, in a couple days, your time. So if you're watching this around the time it comes out, on Saturday the 17th at, I think the plan is noon Eastern Standard Time. I'll put all the details in the description again. I think we're doing it on Nat's channel. We're going to have read to the halfway point in the book, and we're going to discuss our thoughts so far. So I'm powering through, I'm working on reading that. Like I said, I'm not loving it so far. I'm about a quarter of the way in, and I am by no means hooked or like interested in keeping reading, but I'm gonna make it to at least halfway, so we'll see what happens in the next half of the book. For now though, I've listened to a bit of my book, I've done a bit of walking, gotten out for some fresh air, and it's time to do some chores and then do some life stuff. And hopefully later this evening I will be back with a more substantive reading update. Remember how I said I might check in and like update you on some actual reading later in the evening? That didn't happen. I have really frittered away my evening baking some zucchini lentil fritters. It's like 11 o'clock now and that's very late and it's definitely time for me to go to bed. So I mean, I'll probably read like 4 pages in bed before I pass out, but tomorrow I'll get reading done. I'm going to read. I'm gonna get out of the slump I'm in, which I will address tomorrow as well. Welcome to the park, well, one of the parks that's near our apartment. It is like, you know, the first day in the spring when it's so warm and sunny and just beautiful to be outside and you can't possibly stay in the house? It's that day. So as soon as I'd finished all of the chores and stuff I had to get done this morning, which like, I show you guys that every time I vlog. I'm sure you don't need another shot of me cleaning my kitchen. I got my trusty nerdy sun hat on. I've got a little picnic packed, and I'm actually gonna get to some reading, which it's only just after lunchtime on Saturday. This isn't so bad. I'm currently reading How to Be a Tudor by Ruth Goodman. I think I mentioned it in my pile of possibilities or something, but it's basically a history of the common people and what their lives were like. So looking at the Tudor era of England's history, not through the politics and the wars and, you know, royal marriages and stuff, but from the perspective of like, what were people eating? What were they wearing? What was life like for most people? Which this kind of book is my literary popcorn. I know that sounds so dumb, but like seriously, this type of book and this type of documentary is my favorite. I just love it. I don't know why, but it's just so fascinating. So even though that might sound kind of dry, it's actually going to make for some lovely, relaxing picnic reading. The weather is absolutely amazing. I've been here for like an hour now. Lovely little lunch, read a chapter of my book, which was about dinner, which was, you know, the main meal of the Tudor period, but happened around lunchtime, so that was very fitting. But I'm being reminded why I never do this, why I never just bring like a blanket to the park and sit outside, and that's because it's been an hour and I'm like, every position is sore. The ground is hard. I have nothing to rest my back on. I have no pillow even. This is uncomfortable. So I think it's time to pack up and walk home, and I guess do some more reading there. Maybe I should start a new book. I'm only reading no, how many am I reading? I am actually reading 4 books at the moment. I'm reading How to Be a Tudor by Ruth Goodman. I'm reading Au Bonheur des Dames by Émile Zola. Sorry, someone's car alarm is going off. It's very not idyllic. I don't know what that was. Anyway, there's an annoying noise, now it's gone. So yes, I'm reading How to Be a Tudor. I'm reading Bonheur des Dames. I'm also listening to A Court of Thorns and Roses on audio, and I'm listening to Medium Raw by Anthony Bourdain, also on audio, because A Court of Thorns and Roses is one of those books that could put me in a walking slump, which is like a reading slump, except instead of not reading anything, I don't go for any walks and never leave the apartment because I'm not enjoying the audiobook I'm listening to. And since I worried that A Court of Thorns and Roses was going to put me into one of those, I've been alternating it with the Anthony Bourdain book. I thought he would be a great choice for an audiobook because he narrates it himself, and you know, he's just got such a strong voice, both like spoken and in terms of the words he chooses, and I was not wrong. That one is so good. So I think I'm gonna listen to that on the walk home. I should work on A Court of Thorns and Roses, but honestly, I can't be bothered. I'm back in my familiar habitat now, back in my cozy robe, because even though it is delightful outside, it's still, you know, not that warm for just sitting inside. And I need to decide what to read. I mean, I could read some of Bonheur des Dames, which I should read a chapter of today or tomorrow. I could read a bit more of How to Be a Tudor, but I just kind of feel like something different, something kind of fun. And from my pile of possibilities, I've narrowed it down to 2 options. I could read Small Gods by Terry Pratchett, which is like fun and funny and a reread, and I know that I'm going to love it. Or I could read Grave Importance by Vivian Shaw, which is the 3rd book in the Dr. Greta Helsing series. I read the 2nd in March. I will link that whichever corner this is. Anyway, I'll link my wrap up there where I talk about that. I had very mixed feelings about the 2nd book in this series. On the whole, they're really fun, they're really engaging, the world building is super cool, it's a very interesting take on urban fantasy that I like a lot, but I don't know if I want to take the risk. I know it sounds so dumb because I'm going to enjoy it. It's going to be a good book. It's just, is it going to be a great book? But I kind of feel like I really need a safe bet right now. Life admin, which I referred to nebulously in my last vlog, continues to be a thing. As I said earlier, it's at another high point this weekend. And I think like maybe I just want something really reassuring, cozy, comforting, and I think maybe that's Pratchett. So Small Gods, I haven't read it in probably 5 or 6 years, so it's really exciting. I've only read it once, maybe twice ever, so I'm really looking forward to it. I remember loving the story, and I think I should dive into that one next. I did start Small Gods this afternoon, but wow, I was tired. I don't know, I probably read a little, maybe half an hour, maybe 45 minutes, but I was really just dozing off on the couch, and then it was dinner time, and I watched some TV, which was lovely, and I guess I should address the reading slump that I mentioned yesterday, and that I have not talked about at all today. Honestly, I was really hoping that vlogging this weekend was going to pull me out of my reading slump, and it was going to get me, like, focused on reading, focused on thinking and talking about reading. Halfway in, not at all the case. Fingers crossed for tomorrow. I guess I should address the root of the reading slump though, shouldn't I? Basically, I had a huge reading month in March. I read 14 books, which is so much for me. I don't usually read that much. And I think I just got kind of burnt out. I don't know. Some combination of burnt out from reading a lot in March, having a pile of possibilities in April, which the lack of structure, I'm not sure how it's working. It's hard to say. I'm kind of wondering if the lack of structure is making it harder for me to get into reading. But then even when I have had books where I was like, oh, I want to be reading that, I want to work on that right now, I'm struggling with it still, so I don't know. And third, I got glutened, which I don't know about the rest of you, that's what I call it when well, the rest of you probably don't have a word for this because most of you are probably not celiac, but I can't have gluten, and over Easter I got gluten. Through foolishness on my own part, I took a risk that I shouldn't have. But it's been not a great week. Like, it's not nothing severe, it's not severe symptoms or anything, it's just like I've been feeling so crappy all week, and after work I haven't wanted to do anything, and I've just wanted to like curl up and watch funny TV with my partner, which has been basically all I did after work this week. Thankfully, it was a week where I didn't really have much booktube stuff to get done to begin with, because otherwise I really would have had issues with like videos not being ready on time and stuff. So it happened at a good time that it was a week where I could just be like, okay, I'm barely gonna read anything. I'm totally gonna step back from booktube. I'm going to just curl up and watch Marvelous Miss Maisel, like 6 hours a night. Yeah, like I said, I was really hoping that vlogging this weekend was going to help me get out of my slump a bit. I still have hope for tomorrow. We had some like admin stuff to deal with and chores this morning, so maybe I just got off to a bad start, and it's actually pretty early still. It's only like 10 o'clock and I'm about to get in bed, and I'll either read more of Small Gods or maybe more of Au Bonheur des Dames. I'm not sure, but Small Gods has been fantastic so far. Sorry, this is so all over the place. I did not prepare any notes. I'm just stream of consciousness talking at you. Like, oh my goodness, the beginning of Small Gods and how Pratchett talks about religion and bureaucracies is phenomenal, stunning, so good. I don't know how this book would come across to someone who is strongly religious, but the things he has to say about organized religion versus faith and belief with a capital B. I'm like maybe 30 pages in and I'm already so engaged and so interested to see where he takes it. I mean, I know where he takes it roughly because I've read the book before, but I feel like there's going to be so many interesting things that he has to say. This is one of those books where I swear every sentence I read, I want to highlight it and just be like, this sentence, this is amazing. I need to talk about this in my review. And then the next sentence, again, this sentence is amazing. I need to talk about this in my review. My review will probably be incredibly short because I won't know which sentences to talk about. I feel like I'm reading in slow motion today. I've read, it's like lunchtime, and I've read one chapter of Au Bonheur des Dames, which, I mean, that is like an hour of reading usually, so they're not short chapters, but I feel like it's taken me like 2 hours today, and I'm just moving through molasses. But that's okay because it's a lovely story, and it's a lovely story to take some time with. This one is about sort of the rise of a big department store in Paris in the 1880s and how that's affecting local business. So before you had, you know, all of your little family-run shops, each with a very specialized thing. Like there's the little like umbrella shop, and there's the silk shop, and there's the shop that sells this and the shop that sells that. And this new guy has come in and he started this huge department store that sells everything like we know department stores now, and he's of course driving everyone else out of business. And honestly, everything in this book is just so much like, whoa, this feels like you could be writing this now. Although it's interesting because the big department store isn't inherently evil, it's just a change in how business is being done, but the impact it's having is very negative on these small businesses who can't adapt. They can't, you know, buy as much stock. They can't sell it, you know, such a small margin. So all the customers are going to the big department store. I'm really excited to see what the discussion group that I'm reading this with, I'm reading it for a read-along organized by Dancing Lawn, has to say, because on the first section that we read, oh my goodness, yeah, it was super interesting. And now things just continue to get more interesting to me in that respect, especially since the perspective we follow, we get glimpses of like the owners of the various places, but for the most part we follow Denise, who's like a 20-year-old woman, but she's responsible for her like 17-year-old brother and her like 4 or 5-year-old brother. So she's this young woman, but she's got these big responsibilities, and she first finds a job in the big department store, and then she gets fired because, you know, reasons. And then we're seeing her as she tries to make her way in Paris and support her brothers and make a living for herself. But we're seeing throughout the book, and it was really clearly put in one sentence in this chapter, which I'm not going to try and translate exactly, but it was basically, you know, a woman couldn't live from her labor alone in Paris at that time. You know, women were not paid enough to actually be able to properly support themselves, let alone support dependents. So she doesn't want to take a lover. She's very, you know, she's got very strong morals. She doesn't want to take a lover. She doesn't want to essentially, you know, become a sex worker, which is what all of her coworkers are doing. You know, all of her fellow female department store workers and store workers, they all have lovers who support them because their labor alone doesn't really earn them much of a living at all. But she doesn't want to do that, so she's really like struggling twice as hard as everyone else. It's fascinating. Honestly, I'm amazed at how well I'm moving through this book. When I first started reading it, and I was like, oh my god, this is like so long, and because I'm reading it in French, it's a lot slower for me. But the story is really engaging, the writing is really engaging, and the ideas are fascinating and so relevant. So actually, this is the book that's going the best for me this month almost, in terms of like big books that I'm reading and not stuff I'm more mood reading, so yeah, this is great. I should really be telling you some sort of productive or interesting thought about How to Be a Tudor, which is a fascinating book, and I'm planning on doing a full review, so I hope you don't mind that I don't have too much to say right now, other than the fact that it's so well written, it's so engaging. I would love to sit here all afternoon and just power through it, but like, I can't keep my eyes open. So, nap time. Lessons from this weekend. I don't think I can vlog myself out of a reading slump. Maybe I can sometimes, maybe other weekends it would have worked better, but for whatever reason, the combination of things that have me just feeling down and unmotivated weren't something I could beat by turning on the vlogging camera and going, everything's good and I'm excited, because sometimes that's a thing, you know, when you're like grumpy and then you go to hang out with people, but you don't want to be grumpy around people, so you put on like a happy smiley persona, and then by the time you're done hanging out, you actually feel good. Anyway, turns out this weekend vlogging wasn't enough to do that. That's okay. I'm gonna post this vlog anyways. I think I said a few interesting things, and something I don't want to do is let my social media, of which YouTube social media, right, become a place where I only reflect the most positive things. So I did some reading this weekend. It was good. I enjoyed what I read. I just wasn't in the mood to read a lot, or frankly to do a lot of anything. And that's something I want to share too. I don't want to create the illusion that everything is always going well and I'm always getting loads of stuff done or loads of reading done, or that everything is always super aesthetic or whatever. Obviously, if that's your thing, awesome. I love to watch those videos, but I also like to watch the videos where people share like what's going on in their life, what's really happening, and I want to make that kind of video too. Despite having done virtually nothing today, I think I'm too tired to have actual thoughts, so I don't know, I guess cross your fingers for me that I actually sleep well soon and feel like a human again. Let me know. Did you have a good weekend? I hope you did. Did you read anything interesting? If you did, let me know down below what it was. And as always, if you like this video, please hit the like button down below. If you'd like to see more of my videos, please hit subscribe, and thank you for watching.